movement. It emerged yesterday after President Trump's doctor discussed his physical results, and he described the president's health as pretty good.
Age 71 years and 7 months at the time of the exam. Height 75 inches. Weight 239 pounds. I think the president, he and I talked, and he would like to lose over the next, I think a reasonable goal over the next year or so is to lose 10 to 15 pounds.
So it was a pretty good report, but it was immediately brushed aside by a lot of the press corps. They speculated about what hidden ailments the president might have. Watch.
But if that's what 6'3", 239 pounds looks like, that's a shock to me.
He seemed like a Trump fanboy.
When he said 239 pounds.
Whatever, but I mean...
I know I'm being a girther, but I mean...
We know, as you mentioned, the president has high cholesterol. We know he has evidence of heart disease. We know he's borderline obese.
On his driver's license in New York, he was 6'2", and he suddenly grew with age.
Most old people shrink.
Yes, exactly.
The thing that's burning sort of this girther movement is this idea that if he did in fact grow, that's part of the reason that he's not being considered obese. If he had been 1 inch shorter, then he would have met the BMI standards for obesity.
It shows you how physically cut off the press corps is from the rest of the country. Here's NBC producer Ken DeLion. Ken, we'll call him that. He demanded that Trump submit to a public weigh-in. He tweeted, seeing a lot of skepticism over the idea that Trump weighs only 239 pounds. Would he step on a scale in public to prove that? Brian Kilmeade is a host at Fox & Friends, author of the fantastic book, Andrew Jackson and the Miracle of New Orleans, and he joins us tonight. So, Brian, I mean, the one thing I learned from watching the coverage is most reporters live in neighborhoods without a single person who doesn't go to SoulCycle at least 4 times a week. They've never seen a fat person. They think Trump is obese.
Well, listen. He had a doctor, a real admiral, come out who impressed the Bush family and the Obama family and their respective staffs and didn't know Donald Trump at all before he ran for president and won the White House. He came out and said, here's a thorough exam. I mean, the same media corps that missed FDR's wheelchair and Woodrow Wilson's stroke and the back problems of JFK finally got a full exam and a 55-minute presser to follow where every question was answered, and they zero in on his height, which would reveal too much weight. Americans sometimes should lose 10 to 15 pounds. He is sadly healthy. This is the bad news for the press corps, as I understand it. This morning, Tucker, I thought the big story was the crazy questions asked of that doctor. Later on, when the show ends, I find out everyone doubts the validity and the sanctity of the doctor's comments, and they want a public weigh-in. If Hillary Clinton had won in this age of equality and political correctness, would we have done the pinch test on her? Would we have asked for her weight and demand a second source? This is incredible. In the age of political correctness, we are fat-shaming a president who simply has to lose 10 to 15 pounds. Were they rooting for disease? They were rooting for something to stop him from being president.
It just tells you everything about their world, where being 10 pounds overweight really is a sin, though. I mean, I actually think a lot of reporters are upset by this. The idea that, you know, a 71-year-old man might be mildly overweight, I mean, that's like worse than a war crime to them. I mean it.
I'll take it up a notch. From the group of people that wanted Jill Stein to contest the election because it was fraud, wrong. Then they wanted delegates to flip. That never happened. Then the Russia investigation ongoing hasn't yielded anything. Then the 25th Amendment fell flat on its face because the president's sane. And then all of a sudden it turns out he might live through his term and not die of an illness. And they are so upset they're demanding a recount. This is incredible. I mean, you can't have it every single way. I've never seen people so disappointed that he wasn't riddled with disease. And he, for some reason, I think at some point is watching your show and laughing out loud as he was that entire press conference.
I hope he's eating a cheeseburger and chasing it with the Three Musketeers bar. I do. I mean, there's something so transgressive about his eating habits in this age of macrobiotic orthodoxy. I just love it. Good for him. Brian Kilmeade, it is great to see you.